Yellow. So, yesterday, well, actually, it was this morning. What am I talking about? I finished off Dispatch. It feels like yesterday because it was before I went to sleep, stuff. But, I have recorded all the playthrough stuff, but I kind of want to talk about my thoughts about the game. I mean, first of all, I liked the game. I mean, I got through the whole thing. If I wasn't enjoying myself, I wouldn't have kept playing. I am not particularly good at finishing games. I mean, even though it is kind of short, like it took me about 8 hours. I think each chapter there's 8 chapters, and I think each one takes about an hour. Yeah, I guess so. I'll show off like sort of what choices I made. So yeah, I threw water at Flambe. Uh, I did not kiss Blazer because like we were drunks, and also I wasn't planning to romance either of them. But like the characters literally met that day. I'm like that doesn't really make sense, and it is also supposed to be a job interview. Like that feels a tad unprofessional. Um, I also didn't kill the guy at the start. I apparently did better in like. It's kind of funny watching the success rate thing drop over time. I was doing okay at the start, but I ended up doing pretty badly. I answered the reporters. I called him Sunglasses at Night Guy, and I was okay. I do plan to, because I want to get, maybe all the trophies. I think that could be cool, except I'm not as confident about some of the hacking ones. I found the hacking minigame quite difficult for me. Part of it was that my control, like, my mouse pad was being a butthead, to put it in professional terms. But, like, yeah, I also just I do want to do a second playthrough for like the story side of things because that's more what I'm interested in, more so than the actual like gameplay stuff. But yeah, I did the fist bump. Um, I did cover for Invisigal punching me, which I was surprised by because I tend to be someone that believes in like honesty and stuff. I picked the jelly filled donuts because of Pokemon. I didn't ask out Blazer, and then it was very awkward when it's like, oh yeah, like because I didn't realize that she had a partner. And it's like, yep. It's like, oh, you have the chance to potentially ask her out, and then immediately it's like, oh, here's my boyfriend. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to dinner. That's gonna be awkward. Um, I let yeah that so those are both things to do with the I think the last couple of they always put the dispatching segment choices at the end. And so yeah, my most sent hero was Coupe, and yeah, that was 50%. It goes downhill from there. I cut Sonar. The reason why I cut him is because well, Coupe was being my most helpful hero. Like so, the chapter before, I think it was like one of my most sent, and also like he was kind of the character I found the most annoying. So like before I found out which two it was, because I wasn't entirely sure as I was playing through that, like how they were gonna decide which characters I could pick from, because I'm like they're probably not gonna let me pick everyone. But yeah, he was the character that I was like, yeah, you're kind of annoying, because I'm pretty sure this is also the chapter where he like is handcuffed and stuff. I threw the chair. Oh, my computer hasn't done this for ages. I don't know if you guys can see this, but like my screen's just gone like all red and critical error, so I actually can't see what my screen is doing. It's kind of annoying when this happens, because I'm not sure if I can even do anything. Okay, so that actually pressing the button did do stuff, but I literally can't see, and now my screen is flickering. That's annoying. We're just gonna ignore that. And yeah, I helped out Invisigal. I said the Phoenix thing, helped with the Fate stuff. Decided to shut down the fighting tournament. Oh yeah, that was the thing. So some of these choices, because like I ended up not being able to play for a couple of days because my computer stopped, the sound stopped working. And yeah, 70% of players. This must have been my best shift. I'm like, wow, okay. And yeah, I feel like for most of the game, Prism was my best hero. Like Prism was the most helpful. And yeah, I decided to pick Waterboy. Um, because like I did some sort of thinking and stuff. So like I also had a friend say that he hasn't played it, but he'd watched playthroughs of it, and Waterboy was his favorite character. So that did make me slightly biased. But also I was like, well, Phenomenon's already like hired by the company, and like he's their best hero. So he's in the story. He would have I thought that potentially okay if I don't hire him, like he's still going to be a hero. Like Waterboy has the most that, like, if I don't pick him, he's just gonna stay a janitor and stuff. I do feel kind of sad that I didn't expect that, like, Phenomenon wasn't gonna appear very much, like, when I didn't pick him. It was kind of like, yeah, he sort of just didn't get to do much, which did make me kind of sad. Honestly, I feel like that a lot of the characters I wanted to see a lot more from them, which is something that I find really interesting about the, like, discussions where everyone's like, oh, I really wanted more romance options and stuff. It's like, I feel like there had to be. I mean, I'm not really the most sort of like I generally am not much of a shipper. It takes a lot for I have to be very invested in a dynamic and stuff, and like 8 hours, like there's a lot of plot, a lot of characters, you know, because you've got a whole team. Like I feel like that maybe they could have had more like kind of like what Danganronpa does, where you can pick specific characters to get to know better or something. Just because, yeah, I feel like that I didn't know a lot of the characters particularly well. And I'll get onto that more sort of with the like when we actually get to sort of some of the romance stuff. I went with and watched the movie with Invisigal because I'm like, well, I'm already on the phone with her. If that feels kind of rude not to go, and also like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I was in the middle of a call with her when I was being texted by the other one, by Blonde Blazer. And yeah, I feel like that honestly, Invisigal gets a lot more screen time for her dynamic to develop compared to Blonde Blazer. Like Blonde Blazer, I like because I knew going into this game, because part of why I started playing was Instagram decided all of a sudden that I was a Dispatch fan, and just my reels were just filled with Dispatch stuff, and I'm like, Instagram, I have never played this game. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go, because I like superheroes, I like choice-based games, like I like games like Detroit Become Human, Until Dawn, The Quarry, that kind of stuff, and you know, I like superhero stuff, like My Hero Academia was my first anime, and I was very into that for a while. I like Sky High. I like the show Heroes, kinda. I have mixed feelings about Heroes. But yeah, I feel like that Invisigal, because some of the things that happen sort of in the last chapter, I get why she needs so much screen time, because a large part of the story is her development, or if like you don't in if you make their own choices, lack of development. But like Blonde Blazer, I just expected to be in it more, but I guess it makes sense. Like she's not actually part of your hero team that you're dispatching. Yeah. And yeah, I warned about the dress. I threw the spaghetti because, you know, he threw out noodles, so like it felt the most similar. Yeah, and performed better than 1% of players. So yeah, this is where things started to go downhill for the actual that sort of stuff. And I told the team that I was Mecha Man, which yeah, I was like, no, I've got to be honest. Like we're talking about being a team and stuff. I told Invisigal not die. This stat surprised me at first. I was like, 5% of players seems low, but it made me realize to get this option to, I guess, tell her that it wasn't a date, you had to pick her for the theater, and I'm guessing that most people probably have like because I know that also the not picking a romance option is a very low stat as well. So like I'm guessing most people are either, if you're going to go on the date with Invisigal, chances are you intended it as a date. Like I actually didn't want to go with either of them because I don't particularly feel like that either I'm team nobody. Like honestly, the amount of unprofessionalism that happens and stuff, like no one treats that, like I'm okay with the swearing and stuff, even though that's generally not something you do in a workplace. But like the amount of inappropriate stuff that happens with Robert, I'm like, guys, can you like stop for 2 seconds? Like, yeah, just no one's chill, and like again, like I'm pretty sure that they haven't known each other for that long, and like I don't know, I feel like that. Yeah, I was like, no, this is explicitly not a date. And I said that I would not kill boy. Um, and yeah, those are more stats to do with the actual thing. I performed 10%. Okay, so I did better that time. And yeah, Prism was continued to be my MVP. I see the reason why I said that I didn't believe the Z team could do it is I didn't want anyone to get injured. I was like, no, can we not do this? I thought that maybe if I said no, that like I could avoid any of them like going and stuff. See, I was confused about the 60% of players dance with Invisigal because I didn't actually make that decision. Like, I'm guessing that maybe this is based on how she feels about you, because yeah, I didn't get a choice to go, oh, dance with her, don't dance with her. So I was surprised when I got that stat. I was like, wait, but that just happened automatically. So I'm guessing that maybe if you do a playthrough and she's just not particularly fond of you. And yeah, I did the superhero pose because like I'm a superhero. Doi. Um and yeah, the more I played as the bard because the prism went and did that, and I'm like, yeah, anything like by that point she had well and truly had like 10, so anything charisma based she was just beating. Yeah. And I refused to cut Invisigal because it very much felt like by this point I'm like, no, this game's very much sort of leaning on this theme of like redemption and stuff, and I'm like, this feels like that it's testing your patience and endurance to put up with Invisigal, and will reward you if you like stick with it, I guess is what it felt like was going on. Especially by this point, I'm like, we're getting towards the thing. I feel like we're building up to something. And also, I like if I had the option not to cut Coupe or Sonar, I wouldn't have cut either of them. Like in this universe, you know, like the Phoenix program is a way like is a rehabilitative justice method. I agree with that sort of principle and stuff. So yeah, if I had the choice to not cut anyone and try and help as many people out as I could, I would have. But that you have to cut either Coupe or Sona. You don't get the pick. And yeah, I forgave her because again, like if my principles are sort of this idea of, you know, forgiveness and like working towards redemption and stuff, if it shouldn't matter if they were if their villainy was personally directed at me, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it shouldn't matter if, like, just because, you know, she was there and did, like, crime, like, I was aware that, you know, you're aware that she's been doing crime and stuff, but just because it was directed to me doesn't suddenly change the reality of what she was doing. And I also, this scene actually kind of threw me. This was my least favorite scene in the game. I can actually feel that, yeah, did not react well to this because, like, she comes up and kisses you like whilst invisible. Like there's no consent there, and I was just very uncomfortable. Not that I wanted a romance anyway, but I'm like, no, like that's assault. Like you can't just do that. I was surprised so many players leaned out of it. Like, although maybe okay, I am curious. I guess this is probably similar to the other thing, whereas I'm guessing that to even get this choice, you had to have. I guess if you didn't like Invisigal, she probably didn't kiss you in the first place. Is what I'm guessing. Is maybe that's why it feels that low. Because I'm pretty sure like the fan base is probably like. It seems pretty 50-50 split as to like which of the two options they like. People have very strong opinions, I've noticed. As to which one they like. They're either like, oh, people are very like, you know, it seems to me that the argument is like, Blonde Blazer's, you know, the objectively better choice because like Invisigal like is, you know, a red flag and messed up and stuff. Or they'll be like, oh, if you go with Blonde Blazer, she's like boring and stuff. I mean, Blonde Blazer also was like in a relationship. I know that like she does break up with Phenomenon, but like, and claims that it was coming anyway, but it still kind of feels like there was some. I mean, especially if you guys do kiss at the start, like there's cheating there, and I'm like, that's also not good. And again, like I don't know how much the two characters interact. Like, I don't know how much of a difference it makes if you actually go to dinner with her. But like in my playthrough, it felt like that we didn't really get to interact much with her. Yeah, I chose the Twinkies. Yeah. So overall, I was pretty bad at the actual dispatch shift things. So yeah, I decided to give him both the astral pulses because I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing this is the most interesting chapter to discuss. So yeah, I decided to give him both because I'm like, well, I feel like that if I give him the prototype thing, that's gonna go bad. If I give him just the thing, well, that's like also gonna go. Like if I give him the fake one, he's gonna retaliate. He's gonna know. If I give him just like the one he wants, that's also going badly. So I'm doing what he wants and what I agreed to, but also like throwing some sort of stuff in the mix. I decided to spare, and I was surprised this choice was so low. Like, I don't know, it just felt I was just shocked that like I guess so many people decided to do murder in the superhero game. But I was also like curious about this one because so it says earlier, I think it was about 30% of players said so like the words thing. I was surprised that most people like they declared that they wouldn't kill him, then went and killed him. Maybe like I guess the justification is like because of how dangerous he is. Or maybe some players forgot because I know this came out episodically as well. I decided to trust Invisigal and untie her. I'm curious like what does happen if you don't. Um so yeah, I supported her and she became a hero. I'm yeah. I was in the category of nope. Because yeah, I didn't do any of the kissing stuff. I'm not sure if those are the only romantic choices, but yeah. Um, I also was really bad during that final sort of fight, the like the sonar fight and stuff, and just everything was going badly that shift. Like I kept having like because I that was the first time I'd had Phenomenon on the thing. Naturally, as he wasn't on the team. But yeah, he kept getting depressed because he kept failing stuff. I'm also curious about like what the opportunity to keep Sona out of jail, like how you even get that. Because yeah, I didn't have the choice. Um, I went on the coffee run, and I helped the guy, and yeah, like better than 1% of I did bad. I feel like the only players that I did worse than. So I'm curious about like this thing. Always try to do the right thing at the wrong time. So I'm guessing that maybe there's like, hold up, I'm gonna Google this. Like, dispatch types of Robert. Okay, so it knows what I'm referring to. Um, I can't I can't spell. What kind of Robert is your Robert? Um, okay. True hero. Wait, okay, okay, so this one's probably. Oh, okay, so there's a, looks like there's three different options. Because I don't know if there's an achievement attached to that. Hold up. Because I do plan to do sort of, I guess, like some, because I guess they have achievements for your big things. So, yeah, like keeping the romance, the path of mercy. So these three are based on like your ending sort of choices, I guess. So yeah, I'm not seeing a one based on the type of Robert you get. So yeah, the just friends. So I'm pretty sure there's one for like Blonde Blazer, one for Invisigal, one if you pick to kill, one if you don't succeed. Um, where's the others? Then there would be like the telling the truth. So yeah, my next playthrough I'd probably do I guess just the other like mutually exclusive ones. So I would pick to get rid of Coupe. I would pick Phenomenon. I wouldn't tell the truth, that sort of stuff. So yeah. Oh wait, wrong button. Okay, so what are the other options? Um okay, wait, I'm curious to read this just cuz like I don't know about like sort of some of these other endings. Um so one of the first choices. So I was expecting to die. I was like very concerned that I was just going to completely fail. Um So one of the first choices in the dispatch is whether you should give the pulse. There's even the option to give both. If you give him the fake one, he'll originally spot it as fake and throw it away, forcing you to give him the real one. Oh, so you can tell them apart when you give just one. Both, he'll get angry and discard one, but it'll be the real one. They'll put the fake in. Okay, making him easy to defeat once it backfires on him. If you give the real, he will have a moment of gloating. He then turns his gun. Wait, But he also had a moment of gloating. Okay, how to get Invisiata to be an ending, starting from the barrel. When she does, she will save. If you manage to get Robert to be a good mentor, she'll save his life. The result is true hero. If you're not managed, she will instead stab Shroud in the neck while saving Robert. Oh, okay. So either way, okay, because yeah, I was curious if she doesn't sacrifice herself, like how Robert survives. But okay, so if you get the bad ending, she just murders Shroud. Um, I mean that is an interesting way for her to turn to villainy, like to kill the big bad. I do find that interesting. I guess it depends on how she does it and like what else happens. And I guess like murder's wrong, but like you have the option to do the murder. But okay, so you also don't have the choice about like picking mercy or not. Oh, okay. So I'm guessing that in order to get the option of like, because there's an achievement for I guess like picking murder. I wonder if you get that if she murders or if you have to do another run to. Okay, is whether or not to kill. Um, Okay, so killing Shroud will steer Robert towards the anti-hero title. Sparing will get the true. Is that how the only thing, or is that just an influence? Um, Folks on Reddit have done and found the different counters that the game uses to determine. Okay. So to get. Oh, okay, so people have done. So, I mean, I already got the hero endings, which makes sense. I tend to be nice, someone that doesn't particularly lean towards aggressive stuff. So yeah, if you do aggressive and mean things, you get and you be like the edgy version. Okay, so whether or not you kill him is likely to just do it. If you get 20 hero points, you get but if you, however, is possible to get neither to 20 depending on how you choose. Every man. Oh, okay. So basically, every man is a neutral option. Interesting. I'm curious, like what it looks like. Every man Robert. Does it? Okay, so this is the one I got, the true hero one, an anti-hero. I feel like this one, this one fits like sort of like the tone of the story. Sometimes I like how it's got like the Twinkies in the background. Um, One of the goals is to make sure there wasn't a right one. The characters. Okay, so if you kiss Blonde Blazer at the start of the game, or you choose to join her on the date, and you'll kiss her at the end of the game, if you choose. Okay, so it sounds like basically, the way to get that is just to do the kissing thing. So if you can attempt to romance both, which means Shroud will call you out for trying to be a player. Okay, so there's kind of like 4 options there. But yeah, I was curious about this one because like that one doesn't have a percentage either, which is interesting because like most options do. I guess maybe it's a little bit difficult to give that sort of percentage thing. But yeah, I am curious like what percentage of players get like which type of Robert. So yeah, overall I would say that I like the game. My main issues are there's a couple of scenes where I'm like, guys, like this isn't, because like yeah, I get the kind of humor it has, but like there's the scene with the party with Malevola and stuff like that. I'm like, that's not cool. Like I feel like that the game was a little bit inconsiderate, I'm gonna put it lightly, of Robert's consent and agency, and like I just didn't appreciate that at times. and you can make the argument of like, oh, like a lot of these characters are villains and stuff. It wasn't just like, I don't know, it just felt like less so that it was based on, oh, this is we're supposed to see this a bad thing, this is a reflection that these are bad people. Like, yeah, it felt more like it was kind of done for like comedy, and like would be a kind of lampshaded, or not even really treated as an issue. Like the scene with Invisigal kissing you whilst invisible, when he leans out, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to come across as he's like, hey, like, maybe ask first. It's more like just treated as a typical rejection. I don't know. I know that. See, I'm not really someone that's engaged in kissing culture. Is that a thing? Um, that's not really something that I do. So I do understand that not everyone operates on the idea that you need to explicitly ask, but I still feel like that kissing someone when invisible is not okay. Like, I don't know if that's a hot take. That just made me go, like, no, that is not cool. And even if I had have liked Invisigal, I probably still would, like, even if like, I don't know, was invested in their romance, which I'm not particularly. I feel like that Invisigal does not need a romance. Like, I feel like her character, like, needs just sort of a platonic mentor. Like, she needs to get some things in gear first, like, before romance is even on the table, and, like, not with Robert. Like, yeah. I feel like that these guys being in a workplace doesn't help with that. Like, I get that romance is something that people enjoy, and but yeah, that scene I did not appreciate. I also didn't appreciate the scene with Miller, and just as a general thing, like, there's also the scene at the very start where, like, One Blaze is like, yeah, like, just get dressed here, and I'm like, is there not a bathroom he could go to? Like, okay, I get that you're trying to keep it a secret and stuff, but come on, like, he's already been walking around and stuff. Like, just, he doesn't need to get dressed in front of you. I don't know, they felt a little bit too comfortable sometimes with just not giving Robert some privacy, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm being too sensitive and stuff. That was just probably my least favorite aspect of the game. As a superhero story, I really like it. I think the world's cool. It has some good details. Like, I kind of like the way that it sort of leans into the absurdity of, like, how things like, say, like Marvel and stuff, where you've got these multiverses where you have, like, just casually a demon, you've got magic, you've got very different types of superheroes, and they just sort of exist together, and that's kind of just a part of how some superhero stories work. I kind of like that. I do think that it works well with sort of this more adult humor style that does allow it to be a bit more serious. I like sort of the way that it leans in with sort of Invisigal viewing herself as destined for villainy because of the type of power she has. Like, I think that that's a cool thing to sort of lean into and explore, like, that in a society like this. I'm also not entirely sure how common superpowers are supposed to be. Like, I don't think this is a My Hero Academia situation where, like, 80% of the population has powers. I do think that we're supposed to gather that most people don't. It's just that I'm not entirely sure if I'm accurate in that assumption or not, just because of the fact that, like, basically the entire main cast does have powers. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing that I don't get a sense of that, but I think that would, I don't know, maybe I missed a detail, but yeah, I was confused at times as to sort of how this super society was. I like the sort of the main cast. Like, I feel like that they play off well from each other. Like, the Z team is very cool to sort of see interacting. I don't know who's my favorite, like, character is. I kind of keep going back and forth between who I like. I think that Prism has my favorite design. I really like, I'm a fan of, like, that sort of, like, two-toned colored hair, and also does help that she was easily my best hero. But yeah, I kind of like that she was sort of this, like, pop star. She had the funny moment. Honestly, the karaoke scene was one of the highlights of the game with, like, Flambe singing, and I was very glad that, like, I got to hear that, even though, like, so I played the game with the censorship and also with the copyrighted music turned off. I am very glad that I turned the censorship thing on, not just because I was going to record footage, which I do plan to upload my playthrough here on YouTube, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. That requires a little bit of effort. So I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but that is on the agenda. But yeah, I didn't realize how much nudity they were gonna go with, I guess at times. And also there's a lot of swearing. I don't mind swearing, even though I'm someone that doesn't swear myself. I can't really complain about it. I've always grown up around people that swear a lot. I watch Has Been Hotel. I did feel like that it does better than something like Has Been in having the amount that characters swear feel more personalized. Like, yes, everyone kind of swears and stuff, but you've got someone like Chase swears significantly. Like, it did feel like it was a bit more character driven than. I feel like Has Been's biggest issue is that everyone kind of swears the same amount in the same way, and it doesn't seem to really add too much at times. I really wish that they kept Alistair not swearing, but like, yeah. I like Robert. I feel like that Robert's probably my favorite character, but part of that's just that we get significantly more time with him, and I don't know. I just like that he's dry, sort of done. He's just done with everyone, and his dry humor just works well with, I guess, all these really zany, wacky characters. I would like Malevola more if she didn't have that scene where she just assaults assaults Robert. Like, I know that I'm probably, I don't know, part of me is like, oh, am I being too like pedantic and stuff, but like that wasn't needed. Like, I don't know. It wasn't funny because that's just not funny, and it just like there was so many other ways that they could have achieved the same sort of thing without doing that, and I feel like the fact that they were just, yeah, that wasn't cool. Coupe I also thought was cool. Flambe I think is like sort of the funniest of the characters. He was a little bit frustrating at times because like he would keep just not doing stuff. But that's a skill issue sort of side of things. Um, but yeah, I would say that I like the game. I like it as a choice-based game. I would say that this has pretty good replayability compared to some of the others because it is a bit shorter. And also, I'm guessing based on like the sort of episodic format, it's a lot easier to just replay a chapter, if you want to. Like, cause some of these other, like something like Detroit Become Human does have the issue of it's quite a long game compared to this. Like, I think it's about a 24 hour, which like isn't super long, but like if you're doing heaps of playthroughs and like because Detroit Become Human is part of its like just has a bigger scope with so many different paths, like to get all the options is quite a task. And also Detroit Become Human has the issue of like there are some chapters that you really just don't want to redo because you might only like for example, I would replay Detroit so much if it was just the option to play as Connor, but that's not an option. So I do think that this game is really good at making every chapter is pretty good. Like, I don't think there were any chapters that I'm like, yeah, that felt like filler, or I didn't particularly like that. It always kept me wanting to play more, which was sometimes a bad thing because I may have played this until like 5 a.m. one day. um, but yeah, I feel like that it is pretty good, and like 8 hours is fairly manageable, and that lends itself to like plenty of different options to redo it. I am curious because I feel like that I don't know how, like it is a bit more linear than some of the others, and I am wondering just because something that also like I'm comparing it to something like Detroit Become Human because that's another like sort of choice-based game that I played. Part of what made that less replayable is when I realized that the stakes weren't super high, like so that you could stuff everything up and still have things progress. I am curious how the final fight feels, like how tense that is if you just purposely keep stuffing it up. Like, can you just lose all of the combat and it doesn't matter? Because I know that you can turn on in like I do appreciate the settings having like sort of accessibility features. I kind of do wish that there was an option to turn off the hacking, just because I didn't enjoy the hackings. And part of that's just that my device wasn't cooperating. But yeah, but yeah, I did also appreciate them having some like censorship things. Part of me like yeah, part of me is like I only really turned on the profanity censorship for YouTube because I would be perfectly. I wouldn't. I don't think I would play the game without visual censorship because like. I think I don't remember which chapter it is, but there's also the chapter where that felt a little bit unnecessary of where you see Invisigal's dream. And I remember going, like, my reaction to that scene was like, dude, you've just met this guy. Like, is this supposed to tell us that she's been so, like, deprived of just any sort of positive feedback? And, like, everyone's just treated her so badly that, like, one dude is marginally, like, believes in her and she suddenly is, like, in love with him. Like, I don't know if this is just a me thing because, Aero Ace Gang, like, romance is not something that I have experience with, but this is something that I tend to have in stories where it just feels so quick. Like, where I'm like, why are these characters into each other already? You guys barely know each other. You guys aren't even really friends. Like, why is this escalating so fast? But that could just be a me thing where it takes me a while to get on board with things. But yeah, like, I feel like that my main issue is just the poor handling of some of the assault elements. The hacking thing is fine. Part of that was just that my computer wasn't cooperating and it was a skill issue. And I think, like, yeah, once because I was playing it without unlimited lives, but I did eventually turn that feature on just because I suck at it. But yeah, I would say solid game. I like it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite piece of superhero media ever, because Sky High exists. I am curious to see sort of, I guess, more of the, some analysis about it. Like, something that I really like doing after I finish something is going and watching a heap of video essays on YouTube about it and seeing what people think. But I wanted to make sure that I gave my thoughts before seeing other people's. I was curious because I did see a lot of discourse before playing the game about people wanting sort of more romance options. Honestly, I don't know if this is a hot take because I'm someone that does like sort of romance options because I know that people talking about this game queer baiting. I don't know if it's just that I didn't pick the right choices because like people were sort of like surprised to not have more options. Honestly, I don't know if the fact that I already knew that it was basically only Blonde Blazer and Invisigal that were options, I don't know if that affected my perception going into it, but I didn't particularly, like, I feel like that he barely had chemistry with them, like, let alone, like, I think that if they want to have more romance options, I don't know, in the future, if we're gonna get, like, a Dispatch 2, I think that they need to have some sort of feature so you can spend more time with characters that you want to. And also that could be helpful for, like, if you like specific characters and not bogging the game down too much. Like, maybe you don't particularly care about a certain character and stuff. Like, yeah, some sort of, I guess, hangout option maybe. Where you can, because, like, most of the time you are hanging out with them as a group. Which does help to categorize the team, but doesn't make it particularly helpful, like, you know, I guess for, like, one-on-one dynamics. I did like, I think it was Prism and Malevola had a pretty cool, friendship and stuff. And I did like that sort of they have, like, the mechanic of the friendship and stuff, and then you do see that sort of reflected. For example, I picked to get rid of Sonar, Malevola didn't like me for that, and that sort of seemed to be something that, like, she would, you know, question my decisions a lot because she's like, hey, you got rid of this guy that I kind of was friends with. And also Golem supports Invisigal, and, like, I'm pretty sure they're the buddies. So yeah, I feel like that, honestly, I don't have a lot of issues. It's mainly that just one thing, and I do wish that maybe, I don't know, potentially I just didn't get enough decisions, and, like, it isn't an overly long game. So there are certain things where I would like to get to know characters better. I will have to do a playthrough where I specifically try to romance Blonde Blazer to find out more about her. Just because I'm like, it definitely felt like in my playthrough that she was barely in it. And I'm like, if I had to pick one, I would probably go for Invisigal just because I know more about her and she's just more plot relevant. But that's less so that, like, I think that she's a good romance choice. Honestly, again, I don't think that she should be romancing anyone. I think she's got to get some stuff together first. And not with Robert. I feel like everyone needs to treat him a little bit more professionally. Yeah, and I see a lot of people commenting of, like, it should have been, like, a romance with, like, Waterboy and stuff. I kind of get it, but also, like, I don't know. Wait, I don't remember how old Waterboy. Like, I don't know how old Waterboy is compared to Robert and stuff. Like, Waterboy comes across like he's a fair bit younger. Like, they seem to have more, not like a paternal dynamic, but that seems a little bit closer than I would say like romantic. There's definitely that sense of like awe. Like, there's I guess like that power imbalance between them. And then I also saw people saying about like Flambe and Robert, which I think I kind of get a little bit more, but also I just kind of find it funny that how much Flambe hates him. And again, like that for that to develop into an actual romance would need way more time and space than this game had. Like I don't know how much of it is actually cutscenes relative to how much of your time is spent in the actual dispatching sections. Because yes, you have it. It's an 8-hour game, but that's not 8 hours of like interactive story. I'm not sure what the ratio is. But yeah, that's my thoughts. If someone's played, so like I do plan to do sort of more playthroughs to get a better sense of some of the like scenarios I didn't get to see. But yeah, if someone has, I guess, thoughts about some of the stuff that I'm less aware of, I'm very curious. And yeah, like I look forward to more games like this. This is a kind of game I quite enjoy. I like that it's on the shorter side. I do find it like as much as I like the concept of open world games, I do find that a lot of games tend to be quite overwhelming and just too big. So I look forward to sort of more smaller projects like this. All the voice acting and like performances were great. Like every character was really entertaining. Um I feel like that I had a lot of moments that I found quite humorous and enjoyable. Like, I feel like it's a funny game. I like the tone of this sort of more irreverent superhero thing. Like, it's sort of making fun of it, but I don't know if it's quite like a satirical take. But I also feel like that the concept's pretty cool, like, of, being in this sort of more supportive role. Like, yeah, I generally don't have particularly many complaints, and I would say, good game. I liked the game. I mean, I played through the whole thing. That's as someone that routinely does not finish games, the fact that they got me to actually finish a playthrough. Congratulations. Most games do not achieve that. So you've done something right.